So let me start by stating the obvious. AI is changing at the speed of light to the point that it's disrupting itself. Take image generation. A couple of weeks ago, OpenAI has dropped ChatGPT 4.0, which introduced extraordinary image generation capabilities. Suddenly, at least 12 months worth of labor across hundreds of startups and millions of VC money went down the drain overnight. And that's the speed of change that is taking place currently. And it's not only about technology. It's a full-scale reset of the world as we knew it. It took us, well, WSA a bit less, but the world 20 to 30 years to figure out digital divides, to map out the stakeholders, identify the gaps, policies, and all of that. And now AI is flipping all of that on its head. So let me tell you a story about two people. We hired a year ago an Indian business development manager who had nothing to do with AI before joining our company. It took him roughly a month to figure out AI and start baking businesses based on AI over weekends. He was using AI to create websites, content, images, draft marketing plans, and even sell AI agents as a service. Now, contrary to a freelance social media manager who I met at an event, who was complaining that AI is stealing her gigs, but she refused to touch it because she was too proud of her old skills. Who is winning here? And it's repeating across all industries. We were told for decades, get an education, you will get a job. Now, AI is coming for the knowledge workers first. Take doctors. AI detects cancer and many diseases better than radiologists. Accountants, AI defines patterns that we didn't know existed. Lawyers, contracts in seconds. Even developers are being threatened with the tool and technology that they are themselves creating. So education and experience is no longer a barrier or a differentiator. The differentiator now becomes the hunger. Because hungry for opportunities find ways to upskill, learn, and thrive, while the skilled stick to their status and comfort and remain. So this is the situation where it's not the technology that is replacing or will replace jobs, it's the mindset. And in this regard, AI is leveling the playing field of the factory workers and the white-collar professionals alike. And this has never happened before in history. Who knows what divides this one will produce? We don't know yet. And on the other hand, I will use stories from WSA winners. So Livox is a WSA winner from 2014 that is using AI to enable people with various disabilities to communicate. They are using AI to detect eye movement, identify different shaking patterns, handshaking patterns, and different voice patterns, all to give voice to people who were previously completely unable to communicate. Or Be My Eyes. They introduced AI image recognition to give the ability to people, to blind people, who are shy to use help from strangers, to be able to see with AI. The results, the increase of the blind participation was 40% simply from the eye image recognition. For these people, AI is not about eliminating jobs, it's about eliminating isolation. And the web or digital interfaces moving fast to digital conversations rather than interfaces, the changes and the gaps that will build for people who are illiterate or digitally not proficient are immense. But while they are immense, of course, we have a lot of potential gaps that we don't even know of, because the rules of writing knowledge and engaging with knowledge are changing completely. And of course, regardless of the progress, some fundamental systemic barriers will always remain. No electricity, no AI, no internet, no AI. India knows it's better than anybody else. And the systemic roadblocks stack up. Another winner from WSA, Independent from Austria, has shared that a technical university of Vienna is not actually teaching students, master grade engineers, how to build inclusive interfaces. That is at the city obsessed with equality. So it's not about technology or knowledge. It's just a good example of systemic barriers that still prevail and that build our society. And then, the biggest criticism to AI is biased. Device, a WSA winner, is using TensorFlow technology that is unlocking our phones to detect a single bee in a bee colony. Don't tell me AI cannot identify race or minorities. And to be honest, these people who are building AIs, they are not incentivized or not motivated to enlarge their data sets. And as from Ghana know, and actually Lithuania know, maybe it's even better, because we also saw that some gaps from the big corporates are leaving gaps that we can fill ourselves on our own terms. Fast forward to 2050s. AI robots powered on quantum computers, we finally live in a perfect utopia. Nobody has to work if they don't choose to. And, we all have our amazing time, abundance, optimization is there. We get rid of all this economic cycles, and even the rural Indians don't need to be connected because they are provided to. Obviously, there's always a catch. Who controls this future? To whose benefit, on what terms? And while we are all super hungry for change in this room here, we're proving that every day, are we hungry enough for AI to be the ones who will actually control AI and define the future, the inevitable future that will be powered by AI?
Thank you very much, Odeta.
Thanks so much for that. I think you raised the really big question right at the end.
You have to identify yourself by name.
Tom from Australia. And I feel like, as someone who's of a certain age, I grew up in the early hype around the internet, when all of us were so hopeful that the internet was an inherently democratizing technology. I've also studied this, so I know the same thing happened with radio. When radio was first introduced in the 30s, people thought it would be a technology that inherently connected us and uplifted us, but instead we ended up with right-wing shock jocks and easy listening. The internet we thought would inherently connect us and empower us, but instead we've ended up with, closed communities and polarization. What do you think are the key actions that we can all take and that governments need to take over just the next few years that will kind of determine the course of this technology?
I think it's co-creation. It's time we co-create. Nobody is better to do top-down or bottom-up. We need to co-create together.
Good answer. Goran, please. Introduce yourself.
Good morning, Goran from Serbia. Thank you for this inspiring presentation.
Speak up.
We've heard a lot today also from you about how AI and other technologies can bridge digital divide. Although we also heard from other authors that we are disconnected in hyper-connected world. What would you assume can be done further at the level of teams who are working on AI, speaking about requirement from multifunctional teams and engaging not solely developers, but also people from other areas and also multi-sectoral requirements? Thank you.
I think it is super important that the teams educate themselves, not necessarily structurally as teams, but as individuals. We absolutely must educate every one of ourselves on AI, because that's the future. And not choosing the giants. There is a lot of open source tools. Beevice and Livox both built their AIs before ChatGPT came out. So not go for the easy, super convenient, options that come with a huge price tag at the other side, but educate and choose to build AI, really, for everyone.
Last question, please introduce yourself.
My name is Sol Kabali, and I'm coming from Uganda. My question is, we are seeing a lot of people in Uganda and other East African countries using the AIs. However, when you look at these countries, we don't have a lot of people with PhDs in mathematics to be able to code the models. What advice would you give to the low-developed countries who are using these AIs so that they don't be taken by the monopolies? Thank you.
Sorry, are you saying that you're using AI off the big giants that made it so accessible and free for all, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is a very, very good question that I don't think there is an easy answer to, but I hope at the back there is an answer.
No, the answer is come to the next WSA Global Congress and we will deal with that at that time. Thank you very much, Odeta. Thank you.
Thank you. And may I take the opportunity to actually, the stories that I shared right now about the WSA winners come from the podcast that I'm doing with WSA winners. It's called Edge of Impact. It's currently only on Spotify, but if you want to hear those stories, follow those stories, I invite you to follow it.